Hello everyone, and this is my first YouTube video for this channel, and this is my pen collection. I'm going to go through this today, and what I'm going to do is organise everything. I've not looked at it for a while, so I'm going to do a bit of a clear out, throw out anything that's dried up. So to begin with, I think I'll start with my brush markers. These are Crayons brush markers. They've got a really juicy tip, and I'm just going to test everything in my notebook. It's one that I've stopped using, and I absolutely love these markers. They are really inky, really juicy. One thing is that they don't dry particularly quickly, so if you were journaling you have to watch the other pages because it will transfer. And another good thing about these Crayons brush markers is that you can mix them with water and use them like watercolour paint. They've got different versions now, the regular colours, they've got metallics, and they've got neon as well. They are quite expensive though. And you can see that it doesn't really leak through my paper. Then I've got the Santoro markers, and I'm just going through my collection in no particular order. But these ones came in a little box, I think, which I got rid of. And this is a dual tip one. So you've got the regular tip and you've got one that's a brush marker. And the one thing I do like about these ones is that they're quite inky and that the colours are quite muted and neutral. So I'm not going to swatch every single one because I've got quite a lot of them, but I just want to give you an example of what it looks like. So I do like these markers. Again, there's not too much leak through with that. The Crayons markers, as you can see, as they've started to absorb, have started to show through the paper a little bit. Then I've got some of these. These are just some paint pens I've got from Amazon, because you can buy a lot of generic brands now if you're not into the Posca. The Posca pens are a bit more expensive. But as you can see, I've only really used these once or twice, and a lot of them have started to dry out already, like this one for example. And I really have not used them very much at all. So it's a bit of a false economy really. And you do have to press the tip to get the paint out, and more so with these ones than with the Posca pens. And then next up I'm going to show you the Posca pens I do have. So there are chalk pens which look really well on chalk basically, or any of those kind of black backgrounds. It doesn't work so well on paper. And then you've got the regular Posca pens. So it comes in different thicknesses. That's a 1M. Oops, and you see that it does tend to blob a bit if you've not used it in a while. And then you've got 5M, which is slightly thicker, and it goes all the way up to a very thick chiseled tip. So yeah, I've made a bit of a blobby mess there, but at least the pens stay inky for quite a long time, even when you've not used them for a while. And I haven't used these in quite a long time. These are the chalk pens I was telling you about. Again, don't really work well on paper, but they look really good if you're painting, like, I don't know, glass for example, or any kind of chalk surface. Then I've got these Artline sticks brush pens, and I think they're made for kids because with the ridges you can actually put them together and use them and build things with them if you want. But these are actually really nice brush pens. The tip is a little bit firm but bendy enough for you to do different shapes with them, different sizes, different strokes, and they're just really colourful. And coincidentally, these are actually my kids' favourite pens too. Then I've got this, which is something that I got from the Sakura koi brush pen. Sakura brand is a Japanese brand, and they make lots of different types of pens, not just brush ones, and they're generally very good quality, as these are. These are Faber-Castell brush pens, and these are one of the first brush pens that I bought. And the brush tip is quite soft. It is like a paint brush, and the colours are quite varied. You see they're quite muted, some of them are a bit more pigmented. There's something about these that I don't know why, I just don't particularly like them that much. They're absolutely fine, but I don't love them. And that rose gold one was a different type of nib. Then I'm moving on to a different type of marker. These are brush markers, the Winsor Newton brush markers, and they come in the brush version and also the regular felt tip. And these are dual tips, so you've got the brush and you have a chisel marker. And to be honest, I don't really use the chisel tip very often, but still, at least you have that option there. And these brushes, I think they're alcohol based because you can smell it, so it depends what kind of usage you want them for. The good thing about these pens is that they do dry very quickly, but you can see the leak through is quite bad in my notebook. And just taking a break there to make myself a little tag that I'm going to stick onto this particular pen pot. And that will be my brush pens. And just making another one, because next I'm going to do paint pens. I'm just going to stick these on the front of my pen pots because of the way that I store them. I tend to store them vertically, so then I can see what everything is. Then I've got the Muji gel markers, and I think these are quite popular with a lot of journalers. You can buy some in sets, but the multicoloured ones you have to buy separately, I think. And some of them have got a bit dried out, some of them are quite old, and so they're going to go in the bin probably. I don't think I can revive those. And the nice thing about the Muji gel pens is that they're generally very smooth. You don't get all the little gaps in them. And also they come in different thicknesses too. Yeah, some of them are a bit dead. They're going in the bin. So there's little blobs. I kept finding little blobs at the ends of some of the Muji pens, so I'm guessing that they leak a little bit if you don't use them for a while. I'm still scribbling, still testing them all, seeing which ones are worth keeping and which ones aren't. Again, not much leak through there, so it's quite good for even thin paper. And then I've got these Frixion pens, and is it Frixion pens? I don't know, but these are erasable, so you can use them, and you can use the tip to rub them out if you've made a mistake. But you can see they're not very pigmented though. I do wish they were a little bit more strong in colour. And then we've got these Pilot high-tech pens, and I fell in love with these, and I don't usually like very thin tips. I like the bold nibs usually, but these ones are really concise, even though it's very thin, it's very nice to write with as well, and the ink usually runs really well through them, and they come in lots and lots of different colours. These are nice, but you see it's a very thin line that it produces. You can see there, it's good for details. And then I've got these Marabou fine liner pens. I have quite a lot of fine liner pens. These are pretty decent. I think I bought them in a sale. And you can see they work absolutely fine. There's nothing about them that I love in particular, but they're absolutely fine for the job. Then I've got the Stabilo fine liner pens, and these ones are quite famous, quite well known I think with journalists, because they're quite a reliable pen. They're soft to write with, they're quite pigmented. I do like these ones. And some little hearts there. And then I've got the Schneider slider pens. Now these are like biro pens. They're not gel pens. Oh, what's that? But there is something really nice about writing with these because they're super smooth. They have this really strange glidey feel when you write with them. I can't explain it, but they are really nice if you like a biro pen. These are the only biro type pens that I like. And then I've got the Staedtler Tri Plus fine liners. Again, these ones are really popular, and one of them is like a felt tip type style, and one is the fine liner. These are the fine liners. The good thing about these fine liners is you'd usually buy them in a set, and they're good value because you get a whole set for say £10, a lot of different colours. And then you also, there's some more colours that I have. I've collected quite a few actually over the years. And then the tri-liner ones are more of a felt tip nib. And I wrote what? Somebody was talking to me at the time, and I wrote eye cream because they said eye cream to me, just in case you're wondering what's going on. And then I moved to this. This is the general use pen tin. And you can see, look at this stuff that my kids stick in it. Nobody was look makeup brush, some weird scissors, a pen grip. No one has any respect for my general pen tin. Anyway. Uni Emot fine liners. Now I bought this as a set. It was a lot. It was like 30 colours, I think. And these are the newish style. I think they're newish style fine liners. I'm gonna be honest. With fine liners, they are kind of much of a muchness, and these are much of a muchness. Even though there's different colours in it, and they're quite nice to grip, and they're quite decent. They do the job absolutely fine. But again, there's not really much difference between these and some of the other fine liners I've showed you. So we finished that tub. Let me do another little label, which I will stick on the front. Then I've got this is the kids pen tin, and it's just random. These were from, I think these were from Hemmer store, and they have little strange pens that write. And then of course magic pens. They have lots of magic pens where you colour in, and then you can draw the white one through, and it will make different patterns and things, which is quite a fun pen to have. And then I got these little stampy things. Can't remember where I got these from, but one's like a diamond, and one says, I think it says, I don't know what it says actually. Yay! Just like kind of daft kids pens. Then I got these pens. Oh my goodness, now these are a disaster. These are those pens that you write with, and they naturally create an outline. So they look like silver, and then they create like a black or a green outline, and they are rubbish. They completely dried out. And these are some Alex. These are just general felt tip pens. There's nothing special about these, but I'm just sticking them into a pencil case for my kids to use. Like I said, there's nothing in particular about them. They're just regular felt tip pens. This is also a really random pen that I got. I think it was from Hobbycraft, and they're like waxy crayon type things. These are tempera paint sticks, and there's different brands that make these now, and they're a bit dry, but they're literally like, it's like paint in a stick, kind of. And they're sort of waxy, and they're not supposed to make too much of a mess, and they're absolutely fine for kids to use. Then I've got these, which are similar to those paint sticks. These are from Marabou, and they're called wax sticks. They're like crayons, but they're much softer, and they are quite fun to use. The only thing is the colours are not very vibrant because they're not really a kid's product per se. and that one there. Then I've got Crayola Twistables, just the general kind of kids stuff that they like. These are multicolored Twistables, which they kind of use. Then next up we've got one of my favourites. This is the Copic Spica glitter pens, and I really like these because they give a really lovely shimmer and it looks really good when you use it on darker papers too. The only thing is I haven't touched these pens for a little while, and I was surprised by how many of them have completely dried out to the point where I had to throw them away. I'd say at least half of them did, which is a bit disappointing. But still, they are really pleasant. Then I've got the Sakura pink glitter pens, and I got these quite a long time ago. I think they were in a set of 4, and it's just pinks and purples. And I was surprised by how well they worked, even though I've not touched them in a rather long time. And then these are some random gel pens. I think they were from Rico. These are Pentel Dual Hybrid Metallic pens, and these ones are really special because when you use them on white paper or black paper, they will look completely different and they give almost like a 2D iridescent effect. The only thing that's not so great is that they don't dry quickly, so they will smudge sometimes. Then there's the Pentel Sign pens, which I really like. It has a food nib, F-U-D-E type nib, so when you press down you get the thicker line, and when you let go it gives the thinner line, and they're just really nice pens. Then I've got these manuscript calligraphy pens, and they are dual nib again. One side is a flat thick one, which is good for doing traditional calligraphy, and the other side is a thin, like a gel marker type pen. These are really interesting and they're quite good value too. Then we've got good old Sharpie markers, and Sharpies are just good for writing on anything and everything, aren't they? They are alcohol based, I think, and they do mark. And that I was just showing you there some cheaper ones that I got. The cheaper ones are again a false economy because they dry out really fast compared to proper Sharpies. And then there's also the Sharpie fine liners, which I bought in a set. And these are really good too if you need to write on something permanently. And then I've got some more. These are my kids' pens. These are Stabilo Woody 3-in-1 crayons, and these ones are really nice. They don't come with lids, but they don't dry out, and they're sort of waxy and crayony, and you can actually use them on glass. And this is a bit of a random one to include. These are from Zen Colour, and these are actually fabric pens, so they don't work that well on paper. You should expect them to because they're for fabrics, but they're so light I can't imagine that they would paint that well on fabric. Then there's Ducraft's Paper Mania, and these are metallic brush pens. The problem with these brushes is that they're really hard to control, so you have to do a thick line, and that's about it. Then there's these Pigma Micron pens. Because these ones are really good because they are really long lasting and they're nice and inky, they work really well, no complaints. And then the quite famous Sakura jelly roll pens, and there's lots of different types of jelly rolls. There's like metallic ones, there's glittery ones. I think these are the Moonlight ones, which work really well on dark paper. These are pens that I got from AliExpress that were quite cheap, and they're gel pens, and at first I absolutely love the colour. I think they work really well, they're nice and inky, but as time has gone on I noticed a lot of them dry out just randomly. Then one of my favourite pens of all time is the Energel pens. I think they're super smooth, they run really well, they write really well. This is just my random pen tin. Should I call it a pen tin? It looks like a pen tin. And this is random. I've got my black pens in one, I've got multicoloured pens in the other section. And here I've got different types of fountain pens. That's a traditional kind of fountain calligraphy pen. That's a food fountain pen from Sailor. And it's very thick, almost like it's called a bent nib. And there's this one as well, which is a very unusual nib. These are called parallel nib pens, and they do a really, really thick. And if you're good at this, which I'm not, you can do all kinds of thick and thin lines with it. And this is the slightly thinner one. And then these are from Schaefer. These are calligraphy pens. These are good starter ones because you buy these usually in a pack of 3 and you'll get 3 thicknesses with them. And you get the refills too, so it is a really good starter set. Oh, that's got a wink in it. Does it? No, it doesn't want to go. Now, I found this when I was cleaning up, and it's a Waterman fountain. Look how old it is. Ugh, it's all dried on. This was a present that I got, I think, for a special birthday from my aunt. Maybe 21st. So we're going to try and clean that. And the next, I've got highlighters. I have a lot of highlighters. I need them and I use them a lot. So I'm just using a pen to write down. I'm using a gel pen. I'm going to use a biro to write down test on either side. And I'm going to see if there's any smudging, because it's kind of annoying when fountain pens smudge. That's the Boss highlighter, which everybody knows. This is a Tech Surfer, which isn't supposed to smudge any pen, but I'm telling you, it has definitely smudged pen before. This is a glitter highlighter, which I really like. It's something a bit special, a bit different. And then these are the mild liners, which are quite popular now with journalers because they come in lots of different colours. This is a regular Bic highlighter. And this is the Tech Surfer, which I use a lot personally. And that's the Sharpie one. And that's just the Sharpie highlighter at the end there. And they all kind of did quite well. And now I'm just using this piece of paper to test out all my random black pens, of which there are many, to see which ones still work and which ones don't and can go in the bin. I'm just seeing how my old nib is doing there. I'm using a nib cleaner, just dipped it in there. I'm going to leave it a bit longer because it's really caked on. Then there's more of my random markers in here, things like my Sharpie marker, permanent markers, anything like that goes into this section of randomness. These are the ones that I tend to keep away from the kids because they are full of permanent markers. This is a really interesting chrome pen, which is really cool actually, because it gives a metallic effect. That's when it works properly. And I've got permanent pens, which are for writing on clothing, porcelain pens, all quite random. Then I've got my Tombow twin tone pens, and these ones are quite popular too with journalers. That's because they got twin tips, and one side is like a felt tip, the other one is like a fine liner. I find these ones really useful just because you can do different things with them, and they're quite pigmented. And then my favourite pens in the whole world. These are also by Tombow, and these are my brush markers. And they're a bit of a mess now, so I'm just going to quickly organise them and put them into colour groups if I can quickly, just so they're somewhat organised. I'm trying to put my greens and blues in one section, my reds and purples in another, and then my neutrals at the end. I used to have the actual holder for these, but then I decided I prefer them like this. It's a little less fiddly to use. And there you go. So I'm just going to show you these. The brush side is really lovely. You can get lots of thick and thin lines with it, and the writing side is also very nice too. And it's just a mixture of colours, really bright, really pigmented, and the kind of sheer colours, which are really lovely as well. That's why I absolutely love these pens. They're my favourite. And these are just big sets of pens that I've got random ones. This is an interesting set because it was only about £2, and I think it was from the Hemmers store that I bought a while ago. Then I've got this brush set, which is about, I think it was about £15 from Paper Chase, and it's just got lots of colours and it's really great for kids. And also this Crayola set, which I bought in a discount store, and it's got a mixture of glitter and metallic pens, but it works surprisingly well, especially the glitter ones. So that's it. That's all my pen collection that's been organised. I've thrown quite a few in the bin. See, I've got my colourful pens in this row here. It's a mixture of all the ones I showed you earlier. Just making sure they're all organised. And then I've got my beloved Tombow pens. So it's markers and then it's all my Tombow pens. Then I've got my lovely brush markers like the Karen ones. And the art sticks are all there. Then I've got my paint pens, all my Posca paint pens and all the other brand ones, and also those markers at the end. This one is other types of markers like fabric markers, all my Sharpies, and I've got some highlighters in there too. And then I've got pens, just general pens, writing pens, different colours, fountain pens, and my highlighters squished in at the end there. I've got different types of fine liners, all the different kind of multicoloured pens squished in there. And then finally I've got all my kids' pens. So these are the ones that they can destroy at their will if they want. All the kind of random things like scissors and things. So that's it. That's my total collection. I think it's more than enough pens. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.